What is happening? Good morning, everybody. We are live. Happy New Year. I feel like this is the first official stream of the new year. Let me pop the chat. GM second like. Yeah, get us some what's it called? Retweets, likes, what have you. I'm working on the scenery back here, so don't worry about that. I know this neon sign here. Here or here. A little distracting, but we got our buddy Emp in the house. Emp, good morning, man.
It's good morning. Happy New Year's. It's cold for a lot of people right now. Apparently, it's a little chilly down here. Even
I threw like whatever this thing is called on. I'm like, this is like significantly underpowered for the cold weather over here right now. I'm like, I need something significantly hotter. But good morning, everybody. I know it's crazy Monday. I mean, market is on an absolute ripper out of the gate. I took one good look at it and I was like, holy shit. I'm like, I can't chase it, but then we get a clean trigger and you're like, okay, we're good for a bit. But we like to do the stream usually around the lunch hour when things start to cool off. So if you haven't noticed, the market's not really making any new highs just yet. It is the lunch hour, so it's a good time to take a break, pull it back, and kind of reset for a bit. That said, I mean, some of these stocks, look, we have a setup coming into the new year. We will take a look at the market in general, but if you're not familiar with the channel or what we do on Mondays is basically, look at all these chat. Look at this. The W's all over the place. Good morning. Happy New Year. Emp the Santa. Yes, Emp has a Santa hat on for sure.
I should actually buy a Santa hat and wear it.
Dude, that would be cool. That would actually be pretty cool.
Today is the day of the Kings, and the Kings brought us gifts of a great pop in the market.
Yeah, so I guess that's M's thing. I've never heard of this, but he was telling me. I guess what do you? Let me see. Let me take this down for a second. What do you call it again?
Yeah, so in Spanish it's Los Reyes Magos. It just means the wise kings, the wise men, the three kings. In the Christmas story, the kings come from the east. They follow the star. They bring gifts, right?
Yeah.
In Spanish culture, you leave your shoe out under the tree.
Your shoe?
You leave a shoe out under the tree.
Shoe.
Yeah, and they bring gifts, and it's kind of like Santa Claus.
I've never heard of this before.
And as you see, the market kings also.
I do see. You know how quickly things change, man. If you were looking at the market earlier, it's like, 2 weeks ago it was kind of brutal, and all of a sudden, poof, you have some wild stuff happening. So, what I'd say is, everybody was looking for that kind of Santa rally. We didn't get it. This year. I don't know. Did we get it last year either? I think we might not have gotten it last year, but last year turns out to be a pretty good year. So don't quote me on that. I did not look it up. What's the intro? Oh, geez. Get out of here. You have to look it up. Do some Shazam or something. But, I almost put out my top 5. I think I'll do it next week because there's a little... I was like, I'd rush it because I didn't really think about it. I'm still kind of sitting in this, setup. I think we're setting up for 2025. Now, what you should know in terms of the market, maybe under the radar rallies, if you aren't watching this, but financials. So we will actually have earnings season coming up in about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And pre-earnings moves actually start happening right now. So it's not earnings season. We're a little bit a ways away, but remember, financials are up first. So those are typically ones that make the first bounce. And if you look across the board, actually some of those, like Bank of America, I'm looking at, it's on my screen right now, probably holding the strongest. JPM, I think, had a dividend, so you want to wait for that to pay out, and then it'll probably go. But here we are, kind of pulling back a little bit in the market after a huge run. Unfortunately, Tessie, though, I don't know. Was there any Tesla news? Because Tesla, I looked at that thing in the pre-market and I was like, holy moly, 420 something. 426 out of the gate and has not looked back. That was the absolute highs of the day and has just been like drilling downward. I tried to take a shot at this, but no dice. We'll see. We're sitting. Is it still red on the day, or is it? It's barely flat now.
Barely. It's basically a break even from the close on Friday.
But I think that's the setup, right? So if you were to look at the Tesla chart, throw on a 20-day simple moving average, and probably throw on a 50-day simple moving average. In general, a lot of stocks were kind of like getting really close to those 50-day SMAs, and we got basically little bounces now bouncing up. And I think we talked about this last week, Emp, where we might get some bounces, but they're not really out of the weeds just yet, because we're going to hit this 20-day simple moving average, which in the case of Tesla and some others, that's exactly what's happening, and kind of pulling back. So I'm not in a rush personally to do anything. I do think that there's some pretty interesting setups for sure. In terms of what's going to have staying power, I really honestly I'm kind of thinking financials in the very near term. But overall, like, everybody's kind of starting to pick out their top picks for 2025 now, right? So with that, we'll just do a quick little recap. Emp has been kind enough to Emp's lucky enough to have been sponsored by Lux. So Lux and Emp will do kind of like a catalyst watch today. Normally I'll do like a recap, but again, last week really wasn't that big of a week. Uber, if you've been in an Uber trade, congrats. That thing's finally getting a little bit of love. I haven't looked at it just
yes, finally.
Finally getting a little love. But, I think this one's still under the 50-day. That wick early in the morning, that's actually the 50-day that it ran into. So while sometimes this market might look really choppy, I think just kind of like stay the course, steady Eddie, and take a look at what's going on. But, some of these things, if you're trading near term, you definitely want to be ready to take profits. So you might have some stuff like Tesla hit. And there was a headline on Disney, which is wild for Fubo. Fubo's up how much today? That thing's insane. It's 485. I can't even. Oh my goodness. Fubo is
237.
237%. Oops, sorry. 230% on the day on this headline deal where Disney's going to merge. Get this. Disney's going to merge Hulu Plus live TV and their live TV business into Fubo. So apparently, Fubo will be the new entity that is basically Hulu, and Disney is going to own how much percent of it, Emp?
70%. So essentially, Disney's taken away Hulu Live, putting it under the Fubo title, but going to retain 70% of the business. So
that's insane. So take a look at that candle today. If you're wondering what happened in the pre-market, there you have it. And actually, still grinding slightly higher here. So
new high day right now,
245% now. This thing is just on a tear. So that's wild, right? Fubo is one that's been absolutely down in the dumps. Is Miss Cleo back? Yes, Miss Cleo's back. She started to tweak this her thing. So we get the readings, but I will say she doesn't have. I don't have the cards, so I don't know what she's doing. But she's trying to change it up. Who knows? Little stuff about U.S. Steel. I just trying to grab some headlines. U.S. Steel suing, I guess, the Biden administration, saying that they violated their rights or whatever when they blocked the deal. I don't know. This one, a lot of institutional people talk about this one. It's kind of down towards the lows. I believe the deal was for like 55 or something per share. But there's a lot of shenanigans going on with U.S. Steel right now. So maybe interesting, possibly something to watch. If you play stuff like this, just remember, if you're going to do leaps with options, just when the deal goes through, if the deal goes through, let's say you're trading for that deal, it's basically your options chain is going to stop. It's going to freeze. And the stock is just going to trade at 55 or whatever the deal happens to be. And that's basically it. What about Disney Plus? So no, I think Disney Plus is totally different than Hulu. Hulu is Disney actually doesn't look bad. It's one of those situations where Disney looks like it's starting to climb. Could you imagine if Disney has a good year? Like, okay, so Disney's supports have been in the 80s, right? And then it gets to this 120 level, and rinse, repeat for the last, I don't know, 5 years, something like that. It's an interesting one. It doesn't look too bad today, but it might not be, something that's going to go off this week. But the chart as it stands, yeah, it's pretty constructive. It's trying. It's really constructive. And then our buddy Dan Niles did release his top 5 for 2025. And I'll let you go over that one if you want to, but that was hilarious, right? So Dan Niles comes out, his top 5. His top 5 for 2024 was Amazon, Meta, Texas Instruments, XBI, KWeb. And then this year he's going number 1 as cash.
That's wild. Cash. Top 5 picks and number 1 cash from Dan
Niles. He does flip, right? So you'll have to watch him. His number 2 is Cisco, and then his 3, 4, and 5. Quite frankly, I don't even know what these things are. But anyways, let's move on. So we can go through the calendar. Let me do this. Let me change my screen share to a different screen. Here, this one. And then I'll flip to the calendar. So I think this was last week. So last week, we didn't have a lot of economic data at all. Pending home sales, actually a little bit better than consensus. So that was good. I think this is kind of a rate story. I've been talking about this TLT thing. That chart is a tough one, right? So TLT going down means rates are actually going higher. We're getting this morning, we kind of have like what I think might be a liquidity grab event. So we have a couple of things happening this week. So pretty important that we'll get to in a little bit. So I'm still in the camp of TLT may be along actually here, or actually, like not going down too much more at least. And this was, I struggle to find anything of any relevance here, at least from the economic standpoint last week. Really nothing. This week here, there's not a lot. So a bunch of speeches. So one speech today, PMI finals today, which came in pretty much just slightly under consensus. So again, if you're looking at these calendars, anything that's really different from consensus or forecast, these are the things right here. That's basically, this is what the market is priced in. What's up, Patrick? Dan Else, yeah, it is hilarious. You know, he's funny, right? Like he'll come out like a super bear. I remember mid last year, he was ultra bearish Apple. I think it was like 165s or 170, something like that. And I was just getting long, ultra bullish Apple. And I was on a space with him, and I'm like, but anyways, yeah. And then later on, you hear him, he'll flip, right? So just be really careful, right? Because later on, I heard him say, "Oh, well, I'm actually bullish Apple." So that said, I think Apple's, at least it's at both of our targets at this point. So we'll see. I did get my AI phones, and I got a bunch of these. Dude, do you have these? I got this like. These Apple, what is this, tracker things? Is stuck in the wallet. Kind of cool.
Oh, the AirTags.
AirTags. I gotta get AirTags.
Those are good for the keys too. If you ever lose your keys, like or even the remote. If you lose your stuff in the couch a lot,
it's on the keys. AirTag on the keys. They're like all over the place, but it's funny because like I'll get these notifications. Oh, you left your blah blah blah, somewhere else. I'm like, oh great. Well, thanks for the notification. It's too late now. But oh well. So today, really nothing. Tomorrow, we actually do get jolts. And then we also have a 10-year note. So sometimes a 10-year note can move markets. It's not really a big thing. Looking at this, you see those lights in the back? We're going to change this, by the way. There's going to be like a fireplace is coming later this week. So hopefully we'll actually get a real fireplace. Good for the kids in daycare. Yeah, man. So they make these air tags with like dog collar implants, or you can put them on like a bracelet or something like that.
I've seen people put it under the sole of a shoe for kids.
Yeah. Harris, nice. But yeah, he is a good man though. I'll give him that. So anyways, so that's where we are. So maybe, just maybe, Apple still has some room to go. I don't know. I will say on my top 5, when I do put that video out, I don't know that Apple's going to be up there, but Amazon, you guys have heard me talk about Amazon so much this year, or coming into this year, is definitely going to replace Apple in terms of the top seats. And if you didn't know, Hood is absolutely way up there. So Robinhood today with a huge day again. This stock is just looking poised for like really big things. So we'll see. So that's Tuesday, just really jolts Tuesday. We have some ISM services. This is somewhat moving, market moving, but really nothing. We finally get into Wednesday and it's boom right here. So Wednesday we do get FOMC minutes. Remember my clock here, I think this is Pacific Standard, so you might want to adjust for your time zone. So we do get FOMC minutes, and where did we don't have, so we have one Fed speech and then another one. We also have ADP, by the way. So Wednesday is our biggest day coming into Wednesday's our first big day, right? So we get ADP. And remember, so consensus is 139,000 jobs for ADP. When it comes in, anything significantly different than this, that can be market moving. And we also get jobless claims, things like that, which have been pretty steady. So if we see a big change in that, I'm kind of torn. So we're just coming out of the holiday season. So sometimes we'll see a lot of that seasonal job start to fall off. So we may see a little dip in jobless claims, or increase in jobless claims, which would be dip in employment. And if we do start to see that, then this is my whole thinking about the rates thing, is that's actually probably going to be bullish, right? Bullish for rates, bullish for bonds, rather bearish for the rates themselves. And I think Wednesday could be that first turning point when we do, and then we get FOMC minutes and we get a 30-year bond. So FOMC minutes, sometimes a market moving event, sometimes it's just chop, but this is the day where we essentially get like all what they were talking about in the back end, that we didn't really hear. And then here it is, like boom, 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 boom. Nothing but speeches, right? So then Thursday, 1, 2, 3, 4 speeches. Really nothing else inside of that, besides maybe wholesale inventories. And you were saying somebody resigned today? Is that right?
Fed's Barr announced he was stepping down from some type of position, supervisory role position.
So Barr stepping
down. And Barr's one of the more hawkish ones.
Okay, yeah. So last time I checked, I think we're getting 2 hawks added, and then 1 dove. So now maybe we're even. And then Friday, not the first Friday of the month this month, but the second Friday of the month. This is the main event right here. Non-farm payrolls. Oh, where'd you go? On Friday in the pre-market. This is a day where it's going to determine the trend for the beginning of the year. By the way, if you don't follow me on Twitter, go open your X account, go at PaperGainsINC, turn notifications on, because I will be doing a free trading this week. Basically an NFP training we're going to be doing on a Friday. We do have a script out there if you guys want to take a look at that as well, that we'll shoot you something on. But yeah, I'm going to go a lot more in depth about how this NFP thing works, why it's important, and what to do with it once you have it. But this day, there's supposed to be some big revisions coming to prior months, and I'm gonna pull this back a little bit. I think it was one of these months. It might be here where they're gonna revise this higher, or some of these actually. These might be like overstated. So they're going to revise a lot of the prior payroll numbers. So it might be a really choppy NFP day. it's gonna be a wild one to watch. So it's most important in terms of like how the market digests that specific date. CPI on the 15th. Yeah. So CPI is absolutely the market's most important, like favorite gauge. But I'll tell you guys, this NFP is actually the most telling one. And if you're not signed up to the newsletter, yeah, we will send out an invite for those in the newsletter as well. But so that said, I think that's pretty much the gist of it. And then Amp, I'm going to let you go through Lux's post here. So they do a Catalyst watch every week. If you guys aren't following Lux Algo, give them a follow for sure. Always a good follow because they post this out. I think it's Monday or today.
Sunday, usually Sunday afternoonish. So they kind of give you the week, the upcoming week on Sunday afternoons. Plus, come to the Lux Algo account for all the news stories. It's safe for the memes. The memes are fantastic. I know you like some of those too, Paper.
Yeah, he kills me. We can go over that. I think I'll go over this MSTR situation too, because I think that's MSTR, by the way, with another 1,000 Bitcoin purchase. So this thing is wild, right? Did they talk about that? I'll let you go through this, and then we'll talk about that.
Yeah, so Lux Algo's Catalyst, it is a 4-day week, so we do need to remember that Thursday we are closed. The former President Jimmy Carter's memorial service, so we do want to remind everyone Thursday, no market trading. I think
Thursday the 9th.
Thursday the 9th, correct.
Got it. That's when we have all the speeches, though.
Yes. So even though we have all those speeches going on, because they're probably pre-scheduled events that they're going to be speaking at, but no market open. Futures will open. Futures could be really spicy that day, actually, for anybody that trades futures.
That's
when they open back up, it could be they'll probably close early and then open back up at normal time that evening. So it'll be interesting. Today, Monday, we did have Fed Cook this morning. You probably saw a pre-market dip. He made a couple comments early this morning. We had some final these services PMI and composite PMI. This was just a final revision of that. Wasn't really a whole lot in there. Factory orders was pretty mute, but this fireside chat, nothing, I didn't hear any headlines that came out of this, but it was on the schedule. Didn't notice anything that happened to it. If you're trading AMD in an hour, just over an hour from now, they are talking about gaming. That's how you see the little controller here. They're talking about gaming at 2 p.m. Eastern. All these are Eastern times, by the way. You can see that right down here at the bottom of the screen. And the big thing from CES, which CES, Paper, I'd love to go to CES sometime. I think it would be a really cool conference to go to. But Jensen Huang, NVIDIA, is kicking off with the keynote speech tonight. You see that says 9:20. So the event's kicking off. It's like 6:30 local time. So they have 9:20 on here. I believe it's actually going to be at 6:30 is what I saw on NVIDIA's website and their publications. They've actually been propping this up. So seeing that NVIDIA is pumping this up a little bit, it seems like they're a little excited to
I think it was last, I don't remember if it was last CES, the CES before, but it's like a moment that like it kicked off a lot of this AI kind of evolution piece. So there's a lot of anticipation around both AMD and NVIDIA right now.
Yeah, so definitely worth keeping, worth watching. I know I'll be watching because I'll just be interested in what Jensen has to say, but also the sell news risk too, because obviously we're running up a lot into the event. So I would say keep that on your watch as well. Getting into Tuesday, another Fed speaker right here on Tuesday. We talked about JOLTS. Most of this stuff is pretty much already been covered on that calendar, but you do see a decent list of stuff here on Tuesday, some data early in the morning with the JOLTS there with the ISM services. So IWM will be an interesting one to continue to watch as we develop this interest rate story. Going into Wednesday, you've hit most of these. We do have a collaboration event right here. Adobe's actually listed on here with NVIDIA, Meta, Amazon at 140. Adobe's been getting
absolutely shellacked.
Yeah. So it's that'll be an interesting thing to keep on watch there. This minutes release, and you see they put the chili, the spiciness next to.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
So it is possibly a spicy one, and I do think of all the minutes release, this one will be interesting. We saw the dot plot come out paper. We saw it kind of all over the place. We saw some people descending different directions. So it'll be interesting to see what was talked about, what was discussed, who was on which side of what, and how dispersed are they in their projections for this year. So I do think the minutes could be a spicy time. Now, does that move the market just up and down and we end up in the same place? Does it really scare the market, spook the market? The market hates indecision, I think, and that's where the risk is on that. So we'll see what happens. Thursday, of course, like I said, markets are closed. There is a lot of data still coming out that day, but the market itself will be closed, won't be able to react to it. So that could be fun. And then obviously going into Friday, those non-farm payrolls, that they should put 2 right here, honestly, 2 or 3 beside these right here. But these, this is big right here. Of course, we've seen that the Michigan consumer sentiment can move the market on Friday morning. So for 0 DTE day, that'll be a fun thing to see come out about 30 minutes into the market on Friday. But this is the big piece right here, non-farm payrolls. It will be interesting to see how they put some of those seasonal pieces into everything, because they try to project that, but it's tough. And some of the read through and paper, you can probably speak to this a little bit better, but a lot of the read through is how many people had to take seasonal jobs, how many people needed that extra income during the holiday season. So that's part of the read through there as well. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a very, honestly, this week, you look at this week, this is pretty spicy after we've had a couple weeks of lull. We've got a lot of news coming out. We've got that big CES event and tons of data this week. I'm fired up about this week.
Yeah. So finally, we actually get a little bit of data, because it has been quite a while, man. Sorry, you're missing a little bit of a trade here. So market's taking a bit of
I just ignored it. I was like, I'm not looking over there. I'm missing
a bit of a turn for the worse. But again, it's not. I think this is where we are, right? So we're in a place where, look, the whole thing is kind of taking a bit of a breather. Everything's going to get choppy as we run into earnings season too. Like that's where we're going to start to see a lot of money kind of like rotate from sector to sector again as companies begin to get ready to announce. So I did say I would look at this MSTR stuff. I think if you guys aren't aware, let me see. Let's do. I got to change my screen share. I get the deal with MSTR. Just so you know, this is okay. Now we're finally changed the right screen. This is sailortracker.com. It's kind of a cool site, actually. So like, yes, if you're MSTR bull, you're well aware that you're getting diluted in terms of share value and voting rights, but you're also betting that there's this yield, right? So Sailor says his yield is all these Bitcoin purchases, and it's cool because you can change this in terms of dots, right? So like, here's the Bitcoin big purchases earlier in the year. And he kind of like notes how much he's buying. So as long as, and I'll give it to you guys, as long as the purchases are outpacing the dilution, then the whole scheme stays intact, right? And as long as you're getting more Bitcoin per share that you own, meaning that as long as he's buying what's called more Bitcoin than you're getting diluted, then this whole scheme kind of stays intact. But the purpose that the reason he's even able to do this right now is because MSTR is trading at such a premium to its Bitcoin NAV, right? So that's the quote unquote arbitrage, right? So everybody knows MSTR is trading at like 2 or 3x the current NAV. I don't know. Where do I find exactly how much he's bought? I don't know. I'll have to pull up maybe one of Evan's notes.
I have Evan's tweet pulled up. MSTR now holds 447,470 Bitcoin.
Okay. So 447,000, 470 Bitcoin times, what is Bitcoin today? About 100 grand. Actually, nice little pop. 101, right? So 45. Jeez, this is insane. Is that right? That can't be right.
So 45 billion?
Yeah, that's 45 billion. and then their market cap. So MSTR market cap. So that's NAV. Market cap is 87 billion. Can you guys see this? So that's the arbitrage, right? So as long as the market cap is trading over at a premium to NAV, then he's able to do this arbitrage, and you're going to be, I guess yield or like accretive. But the second, I think,
is
honestly,
that the house of cards? Is that where the top card?
Once this starts to even out and this actually gets near NAV, that's going to be my moment where it's like, okay, if there's no longer premium to NAV, it's going to be wild. And this is kind of like, this is his forecast, right? So like November, this is total Bitcoin over time. Yeah. So 400, he's 400,000. Here he is. Yeah. 447,000. That's insane. So he's made some serious purchases recently. I don't know what this more is. I'm not going to go into that. But anyways, that's where we are. As long as that scheme still works, then look at this. I don't know what it is. I don't know what this more is. All right, it's more than 10 seconds. We're done. But yeah, that's what it is, right? So I'm gonna watch that, right? I'll watch what's the premium to market cap like over NAV. So 87 billion versus 45 billion NAV. So you're no longer 3-to-1. That's probably better. And as long as Bitcoin still goes higher, then that may work out. But this is tough. It's tough, man. It's tough. If I was gonna take another short, this is like the rest of the market. This is a bit of a squeezy setup, by the way. So it may go higher, but we're not. This is right where I shorted it before, right in here. Dude, is this another lower high? I don't know. We have a little.
That's the question. That's a question on a lot of tickers right now. Is it
right here? You have a little bit of a session gap. Normally, I might do this again, dude. But so the way I'm doing it, by the way, guys, is yes, MSTC equity. I was looking at selling some more puts. I had sold some $20 puts, and then I closed those for a heavy profit, and then rolled up to 25s, and then that was into Friday. And Friday morning, I was like, no. So I closed those. We'll see. I don't know. It's a toughie. Maybe I'll sell some like what, $15 puts. Nah, that's not much of a premium. Okay, if I sold $15 puts for February though, that's a juicy premium. I don't know. Here's what I will say. So I'm going to go to Bitcoin, and then I did see the hood ticker, and then I'll check the chat. So if you guys have tickers that you want to take a look at, go ahead and check it out. So Bitcoin, interesting. So normally it's Q2 that we kind of get this blow off. I'm very hesitant here on crypto in general, just because I think we hesitant to be short. I'm okay long. I think we get this move into inauguration, which is when? What day is inauguration?
The 20th, I believe.
20th. So you got
Monday the 20th, 2 weeks.
Yeah. We got, you're right into this kind of overhead supply level, which I think actually breaks near term. So you got a bit of a wick here. This is the spot, if you can't tell, right in here. So this is where current supply is. I don't know if it's this shot, but maybe it does a little back and fill. And you'd really want to see it hold this area, right? So let's see where this kind of bounced up through. So you get this area. This is now your supply, if that makes sense. So these sellers that were, whoever was selling here, looks like they did turn into buyers earlier this week or last week, maybe last weekend. So you'd really want to see, do they step in and buy again around that 100K level? So if we see that, I think that's interesting. This will probably be choppy for a minute as we get closer to inauguration and potentially have that blow off new all-time high, maybe into inauguration. But it's resilient, dude. This is end of Q1. I'm just going to reference one setup. It's basically a big flag. And if I go back, I think this is 2024, September, October, November. Where's January? Here. So this is January 2008, which I believe was a halving year. I believe. Don't quote me. But you get this January bit of a pullback and then kind of flag out, rip to highs. This setup is almost what we're looking at now. So it's possible. So January, push higher, a little bit of flag. We'll see. It's a little extended to be a flag, a normal flag. So I don't know. Very tight on these SMAs. It's interesting setup though, man. I'm kind of like on the wait and see. Show me first. What's Ethereum doing?
Ethereum's still stuck in kind of that same area. It held what we charted last week, that 3340 area, 3350, and it held that, and it's pushed right back up to the kind of the next resistance point here at the 670 area.
Yeah, so this is not. I'm like right on it.
Yeah, right on it. It's more. It could be more Chop City right here.
Yeah, I think this is all still like stay and just wait, right? Because you're still right in there. This is kind of like your consolidation list. This is a very weird consolidation. It's still that 4K, right? So that's that 4K kind of area. That's where I sold it last time, just under 4K. Like the leverage.
If you're bullish and you break out of this level, it's that 4K. Yeah, I have like 4014 that it's rejected multiple times.
Yeah. So 1, 2, let's say it tries to make a go for it. I think it might look like it and then pull back. And then once you get a lower high again, that'll probably go. But you're right on this line. It's not a place to sell, that's for sure. And you're right into this chop zone. I guess just hang on, because that looks like a bit of consolidation to me. You could get maybe a little bit lower. Tough one. All right, so let me check the chats here.
But while you're on crypto, you looked at coin. I figured you would show coin.
Yeah, coin was like
between the 20 and the 50.
Yeah, so same thing. So 305 was like my high end, which would have been right in here. 305, so this like area that it broke down before. This is exact same setup, right? So a lot of things gapping up over the 50 into the 20. Did you talk about Trudeau? I know you.
No, but we talked about it offline just for a second. Yeah, so I know there's Canadians everywhere that are celebrating today. It seems to be the general sentiment. But Justin Trudeau, was it Prime Minister of Canada, did announce his resignation this morning.
Yeah. All right.
And
so
he looked like he was freezing cold when he was doing it outside.
It is freaking cold, man. All right. So let me get through this. So I think we're good on the ticket. This Robinhood thing. Dude, so this is super strong. A setup like this I like because you can tell. So there's been a lot of kind of consolidation here on Robinhood. This was like on some of those initial dips. If I had been like, oh, what do I buy? Like this was kind of like my knee jerk. All right, I'll just buy more of this for sure. This definitely goes in top like 5 for 2025. We are 1, 2. I don't know if this is going to be a third shot. But the fourth shot usually breaks this. That's 43s here on Robinhood. If we take this way back, right, this is a very, very interesting level. So right now, this is from inception, 39.80 is what I'm getting here. Let's call it just about, right? Call it about $40. Every time it's been under $40, it's been like a little snag down here. This is what I bought this the other day because I was like, well, what else is there to buy? I don't know that this one is the one, but if it does pull back, right? So like, let's say this goes and then it pulls back and it locks a higher low. The next one I think is going to be pretty good. So where does this take us on this extension? I'm going to say conservatively 47s, but this is likely the $50 push.
Yeah, and 40, if you go all the way back, the IPO day, It was basically 40 was that high. And so if it creates that base again, and you look back over that like whole year of 2021, that was a big spot, that 40, 41 area. If it just puts a launch pad on top of that, I love it. I absolutely love this. It's tough not to put this one in the top 5 for 2025.
I mean, how do you not, right? So I'm just gonna, like, I hate doing this, but like, if this is the big base, you know what? Let me be a little bit more conservative. Let's say this is the base from here. Oh God, don't hate me for this. So if this is the base, 50% of the base, that means we're here at 33.25, which was that last dip. So 33.25 was the low on IPO day. Look at this tag. Is that wild?
Yeah, I have a box drawn on that IPO candle, and we've reacted so nicely to it.
Yeah. So what I just did was kind of like I taken this area and say, let's say if this is consolidation here, this is why it's so bullish. If this is consolidation here, then if you duplicate this, that's 59 right there. So double the consolidation. I think that's well within reason. 59.
How well it lines up too to those weekly highs.
I know, man. I don't want to get too like crazy here, but it's 59. I believe some of the largest strikes that go out there on Robinhood are in the 60s. So I was honestly thinking about doing that for some leaps. And then if you double that again, then you get up to 86s, which would be like a 2-year forecast to me. But yeah, I think that's I think we see 60s this year, dude. So I'm all about the
narrative around it.
Yeah, this is not a near term, like short term trade. I'm not really like day trading this at all. Number one, it's really an inexpensive stock, so those are hard. The $50, it's like you're just now getting them. Options are all about net dollar moves, so even though it might be like $10-15, it's not a lot of dollars. But I like this one a lot into 2025, like a lot. Netflix is another one I'm actually pretty interested in. So Netflix, not quite over the 20, closer to the 50, but I was looking at this area and I almost thought, like 75, I had 875. So 875 was kind of like my area of where would I like to see it bounce. 850 would be like maximum. And then I'm really interested. So 875, I think was this first one here. Yep. So we were here. This is not ready, right? So it wants a little bit more, but it's not like a lot more. That's the thing. So if this is the last low, then I'm really looking from here to here as my box, which granted, this is going to end up looking like a pretty big box. So 870 to 860. I think this is in dip buy territory for me. It's not done going down, right? So let's just be fair. It's a new low today. It was looking okay, almost a break, not quite. What's holding this is this 900, 870s, and this kind of area right here. So 888 is a big area of like contention for Netflix. I think that's important. I don't know if that's a major market cap. We said 375 billion. 888, 375 billion. It's not cheap, that's for sure. But look, these guys are executing. So if I get this in the low 60s, 860s, I'm gonna be adding. Just personally, because
that 860s right off your 50-day too that you're looking at right there,
give or take. Yeah. So in this area for sure. Nicely. Even at this level, like honestly, it's like 875. Like depending on how you're trying to trade this, what's a couple bucks to me? I think it's worth the shot. There's a lot of stuff coming up, but it could go a little bit lower. Micron is interesting. So someone asked in the server too the other day, do I like Micron equity around here? I think it was like 85s. I'm like, yeah. semis as a whole, like, so if you're looking at these, I think you have to look, I say these semis, you have to look at the SMH as a whole. We were just coming out. Actually, is this the right? Let me go to a different chart. I have a semi chart here. All right, so here's my SMH chart. So in this big consolidation, this is kind of like the downside channel. It held support the entire time, support at 239s. So this is starting to finally break out. It's definitely better. So this is broadening of the semi sector. And I think this was going to be like the most important chart really for the first quarter this year is if we can see semis actually get out of their own way, because they've been going sideways for, this is the better part of 2 years as an index. This is going to be pretty constructive. That said, we're like, I don't know that this is the day to press a hard bet. Again, 1, 2, third try. It's usually the fourth attempt that we go. So I wouldn't press this just yet. I would actually expect to see a little bit of a pullback, which may be some sell the news event on CES. But if we get a bounce in this area, I think we do eventually breach. And so that's sub 250 if we get there. You know what? I forgot. We didn't go through Miss Cleo. Dude, I know we just started jumping into charts.
Got excited about the charts today, but SMH, everything in SMH is going crazy. I think Taiwan Semi made a new all-time high today.
Yeah. Let me do this. We gotta check in.
Got to. She probably called it.
All right. Let me do this. Hang on 1 second, guys. I'm going to stop the screen share. And we have to. So let's check in with our favorite, Miss Cleo. Okay. We're back. So this is the forecast. She didn't do it the same way. But let's do this. So we got a theme card, and I don't have the actual cards this week, so sorry. But this is how I got it, and we'll take it. So the theme card is the Two of Swords as a daily card. Sorry, guys. I can't believe we missed this. But anyways, as a theme card, it closes red. Ooh. As a daily card, it closes red 90% of the time. As a theme card, it tends to chop a bit, close flat for the session. Okay. As a 2, it can mark a new journey, albeit with a slow start. However, since last week's theme was also a 2, it's likely we'll see chop theme rather than a bear theme. Okay. Yeah. So that's about what we were just talking about. I think we'll see a mix of both red and green days, but let's see the daily cards out. So Monday, the High Priestess. I don't even remember this card. This card tends to generate setups during periods of consolidation. Definitely fits the theme card, which warns us of a choppy week. We have an equal chance of closing green or red, but it shouldn't be too far away from the open. Oh, well, I mean, it's way far away from the open for right now. So she's saying it's a pullback. That's a big call out. Next session usually closes in the same direction as this one. So continuation Tuesday. Tuesday's 8 of Pentacles, usually positive. Okay, so hope for a positive Monday to see a positive continuation Tuesday. This one says
check. We got the first check on that.
We're chipping away at our goals one day at a time. Trend is unlikely though. It can get to near 1% of the opening mark. So trade momentum we're like 1.3% today at the highs, I believe, something like that. So it was a good push. Wednesday, Queen of Wands, trappy. I don't like the word trappy. Trappy's different than choppy, right?
Trappy is, it's different. Trappy. It's sometimes it's trappy and choppy, and that's the minutes day. That's FOMC minute day.
Oh no. Okay, so trappy is not choppy. It's like full range breaks on both sides, and you're like all your resistance or support is broken, and then all of a sudden it's like whoop, it ends up being a liquidity grab. That's what trappy is. Trappy is more liquidity grab days. As you know by now, wands are impulsive, so we could see a very strong trap overnight or early in the session. Be careful with any gaps into the open. So if we get a gap day, which we may, we know how to play that. We'll see. Thursday is 6 of Cups. We're looking back and thinking about a time when trading was better. Oh no. Oh no. This is a really bearish card, dude. And possibly more positive. Oh geez. 6 of Cups. I don't know if is that the one where like I need the pictures back, Miss Cleo. I need
the pictures. The pictures make it feel even more like
I know
scary at times.
This implies a bit of weakness and implication of selling rallies. All right. Cups can evoke emotions, so try not to get caught up in panic or euphoria. Price action will be flowing, not impulsive. That sounds trendy. Therefore, we're unlikely to see a major trap or even major retracement during. Yeah, that's trendy. So Thursday, trend day. Oh, God. Could you imagine just that we open the week super bullish and then it just flips completely bearish?
That would be the lower high case that we're worried about when the 20-day, the 20-day on a lot of these stocks, that would be the lower high.
Oh, God. Anyways, Friday is the Empress. This card is positive in nature, but usually requires that we touch ground before making positive move. All right, so Friday is an opening range low reclaim day.
So it's NFP down.
Oh, yeah, this is the NFP day. So Friday's NFP.
NFP by the dip. Interesting.
Oh, my God. Yeah, pre-market lows by the dip, right? I wouldn't be surprised to see a gap down or early session selling that gets bought and closes higher. So just because it's NFP on Friday, by the way, does not mean that we're going to get like a big range day. It can happen. It doesn't have to happen. Like the high priest, dude. I don't know about this week. Like the high priestess, the Empress brings setups and is not great for day trading. Expect price action that resembles consolidation and plan your setups for Monday. Okay. So for the recap, this could be a dude. Oh, come on.
Dang it, Miss Cleo. What are you doing?
I stopped mid-flow just to go check out what she had to say, and this is what I get. I mean, dude, this could be a trappy week. Lots of chop and moves in both directions that are slow and difficult to catch, especially for option traders. Well, I don't know what to say, guys, but that's what she has. Let me switch the screen. There you have it, right? So anyways, that puts us back to where we are. So kind of like what I'm saying, oddly enough, this three attempts, there's no such thing as a triple top is the saying. There are realistically, but if you make a fourth attempt, so if you don't break through on the third attempt, but you start attempting for a fourth, that's usually good. That means that sometimes this pullback can be brutal. What I would really do is I would actually probably extend this top. I might take this here. I might even say, okay, from here, let me grab both of these two. So in this top, I have a wheel on this right now. So anywhere in this, really it's this blue channel. So it's take this low and connect with these lows and then pull a channel down. I don't know if I'm not going to go through how to do that. But it's maybe take these two lows and then this area. So in this blue channel, if you get kind of a basing formation, a bit of a pullback like this, that would be more constructive. Lock in a higher low. I think that's probably a better entry to me. Man, Miss Cleo just came in and pooped on everybody, dude. Oh shit.
Yeah, how many people left the stream now? Come on. Hang in there, guys. It's just Miss Cleo.
All right, so Patrick. So Melly was probably like MercadoLibre was like my first buy. I had that plan 1675. We instantly got up to like 18 plus, and I'm like, whoo. So no, I'm not trimming. I'll say that much. I think, could you still get a bit of a bounce? We'll see. I'm just putting back some of these things. Yeah, so now we're sitting on the 20-day. I make this a little bit bigger or more full.
The amount of MercadoLibre packages that have come to my house in the last 2 weeks, I think it's still pretty bullish.
The Kings, man, the Kings have arrived. So now you're sitting just underneath the 200. It can pull back again, but I'm gonna watch still like this just over 17 level, right in here. So this was, like I said, this was my first buy here on that first pullback. The reason it was MercadoLibre for me was because of this full setup. So remember, this is a weekly setup. You have earnings late February. So if I want this to kind of turn into a cup and handle, if you will, for you pattern traders out there, what I want to be looking for is I want to be looking for this area to hold as a new cohort of buyers, right? And that first little dip was exactly what I got. And that's why I took it. It just happens to basically be like a quick wick. So into this area where the old sellers were selling. So selling pressure here, selling pressure here, selling pressure here. Then they started to flip into buyers. And I wanted to basically see, are these people that were selling around 1650 before, are they going to turn into buyers? Are they going to stay buyers? Because they were buyers here. And so this first test in that 1650 level, under 17, that showed me that, yeah, you know what, they were. So that's why I liked it. I think now if I can continue to see this area become like an area of interest where the stock kind of bounces up out of, that's why that's 1750 or below 1750. I'd like to be kind of establishing, nothing crazy, but I'd like to be like establishing a position. Just to be fair, this can pull all the way down to here and still be valid in the 15. So this is long-term, nothing that's gonna, does MercadoLibre go on top 5? I don't know.
You're still dealing with FX headwinds. They went into an investment type of phase. That's why they pulled back, which I think is a good long-term thing. If we can see some of these FX foreign exchange, pull back, if we can see the dollar maybe cool off a little bit, some of these emerging markets start to pop back up, Argentina, Colombia, Brazil, Mexico, I think that is your catalyst to give this chart what it needs to go higher.
Yeah. And so to that end, I'll just reference the Dixie. So this is a dollar index. So this is, it's like a basket of currencies. I think 109 and change was kind of like that high end area. As weird as it sounds, Trump wants a strong dollar. It's weird to say that we want a weak dollar in the stock market. And if you're confused about that, the simplest way is like from a very myopic or short-term view. The simplest way for me to explain is like everything that we buy in terms of stocks, crypto, gold, they're all denominated in the US dollar. So if the dollars are worth more, let's say you wanted to buy a bar of gold, right? Let's say it's $1,000, and the dollars are worth X. That's fluctuating, but the bar of gold isn't changing. If the dollars are then worth more, then it's going to cost less dollars to purchase your bar of gold, if that makes sense. In terms of stocks, which means that the gold would go down if the dollar is going higher. In terms of stocks, it's a lot more nuanced, right? But the initial move is exactly that same kind of scenario, right? Longer term, that's why I said it's a myopic view. Longer term, though, you want to see it have impacts on earnings and things like that. So, if you're wondering why we want this like weaker dollar, it's because in the near term, look, this helps out. A dollar pulling back helps out stocks and all asset classes significantly. So hopefully that helped the Palantir, because I will see our buddy Amit next or tomorrow for Technical Tuesday. So we got to take a look at this. I mean, this is similar to Hood, maybe a little bit more extended, but this is, look, so, and just like we did that kind of exercise with MercadoLibre, is like people that were selling here, look at this. I mean, is this wild? So if people that were selling here previously, you guys see this? This is gross. People that were selling right in here, 75s, selling pressure. We had a reload seller. So meaning like someone was just selling, slam, 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 selling it. Now, when we come back, you breached that level. right?
They're buying those same shares back. Those same trims are coming right back in.
Same cohort of people, market participants, buying it. Dude, they're like, whoops, accident. I didn't mean to sell it. And they're like, okay, well, do I start buying it? So that's what you want to start to see. I'm not sure, right? This is a little bit early to tell, but I like this first glance today and this day looks like maybe they were. When they pulled into this area, it's like a tough one. But yeah, this is Friday, big move. And I think anybody that was short. So what I can see on this chart, you know what this looks like to me, is if you were short Palantir up in here, let's say you were short Palantir up in here, and then you get this big move on Friday that just completely blows you out, but you didn't have to close out, like you didn't close out your shorts. You're getting an opportunity, or what we would call a lifeline if you're short. This looks like a lifeline for the shorts in the near term. To exit stage left, and that might be what we're dealing with. So so does that mean that we're overly bullish? I don't know, but if the shorts are covering into this, it's more neutral, but like this is choppy. That said, you do want to see this area here hold, right? So this area is really in here is like it's close to 70. It's very close to 70 right here. That has to hold. And if not, then you're going to go 65s, which would be line up more to that 50-day simple moving average. But for right now, today, this very moment, this looks like short covering from Friday. Wow, what a candle on Friday. I meant to give it all back today. That sucks, but we'll see. So you're on the 20. I don't know. We'll have to see how this closes. I don't like to see the highs made in the early session hours. As long as this closes up off the lows, this looks okay. But if not, and you get this dip down here, this is 72s. You want to see how price reacts right in this area. So this is going to be important. So let's say they do push you down. How does price react in this very low $70 area? It's going to be very telling for Palantir this week. If you get that. Or they just cover it and it just goes higher. But yeah, that's where we are. And yeah, I agree. Melee still at a good price. Rocket Lab, man, this one I just totally fumbled. I should never have sold this thing. It just keeps going higher and higher. I'm like, oh my God, $29 today. This is 1, 2, third is out. I think, okay, 28.50s is what we closed at. So this is 1, 2, Friday is third, fourth attempt is broken through. What can you say here? This is just, if you get this 28.40, am I saying 28.43 on Rocket Lab is support?
What?
Oh, dude, is this wild or what? But so this is where they were selling before. It's the same exercise one more time, right? So space is probably going to be a big theme for 2025. I'm just guessing. It's. I don't think that we see a big change in themes, right, over the year. I think we're seeing it. So this space is a heavy theme. We will go over my Redwire in just a little bit because that's kind of like my space stock right now. The reason is so we have if you don't know about the Paper Gains family, we have many businesses, but one of them happens to be unrelated, uncorrelated. My partner owns a machine shop, which is like down here, and they do work for Rocket Lab and a company called Redwire. And he's like, I love Redwire. I love working with their engineers. RDW is the ticker. He's like, there's so much like more together. And these guys are they're winning a lot of contracts too. So pretty much right in the exact same space as Rocket Lab. I just don't have all the research. Like Rocket Lab has Neutron, and that goes profitable. Then boom, that stock is just completely different. But yeah, so these guys still, this is, let's see, press releases. Yeah, another awarded 45 million. These are small contracts. Redwire, so is 1.18 billion market cap. And this is where I was thinking versus Rocket Lab, 14 billion market cap. So when Rocket Lab was, sub 10 billion market cap or sub 5 billion, that's basically them like down here in the threes. But these guys are still, you just want to see them getting more and more contracts. As long as they're getting more contracts, what I can tell you is that the manufacturing guys are all about working with their engineers at Redwire versus Rocket Lab, but they're both putting in orders. Although Redwire is putting in a lot more. They're accelerating. So anyways, I don't know. Is that TMI? It's not really insider. Nothing.
No, that was good. It was good background.
It's just what it is.
Good color commentary.
Yeah, so that's why I came on the radar. So I think this is down to. So here's the real rub, right? So see this 26s, a lot of selling pressure 26, 26, 26. Selling pressure 26s here. If we get, and we haven't really gotten that retest, we've gotten a retest in the 28s, but I think this means that in this green box down to the 26s, I really want to see what do these guys do, right? So like this area here, we saw them sell over here. You see it? Very wicky. But in this area, really interested to see what the reaction is going to be around just under $27. And then low end would be 25s. But dude, even any of this stuff is this minuscule, like 25s. They flipped. So sellers, they were buying, sold, bought here, sold again, big buys, and then big buys again. So maybe this 25 is the real reaction point right now. That's going to line up a lot with this 20-day. But look, these are everything sloping up and to the right. Huge chart. Look at this thing. But very small market cap. So if they do well and they continue to execute, that's the thing. As long as they're executing, it could be room here. Keep it on the radar. Anyways, Serve. SR. Is this not? No, this is not. I don't know this one. So robotics, probably second theme, right? Tesla goes up there top for 2025. Definitely. This one, I don't know much about this. This is, again, $1 billion market cap. They're getting this in the smalls.
Don't they do like shopping? Yeah. That's the exact thing I've seen. Delivery carts.
Is that them? Holy moly. Didn't Domino's have didn't Domino's have a partnership with these guys?
I don't know if it was with these people, but I know there was partnerships. They were talking about like getting your food. This is the exact video I watched on them.
Oh,
getting
my
your food delivered
goodness.
to you like that right there. Instead of like all little motorcycles around here where I live, it would be little robots in the big cities.
Oh wow. I mean, look, that's speculative, but that's cool. I mean, I think those were pretty heavy in the college campuses. I just don't know if they're really there. I added a few.
If you live downtown somewhere, those would be amazing. If you think about,
you guys are getting way in here. GWAV, Green Wave Technology. Okay, this is microcap. I actually can't cover that. Sorry. And you PayPal Square. Square is actually interesting. Nubank. Is this Nubank, right? Yeah.
Nubank is going to have that same headwind that Melly has right now with the FX stuff, but it's still it's digital banking, online e-commerce banking, Latin America.
I actually don't hate this at all. Look at this. So like technically, so there's that low. You get a little wick down there. So this was the last low. The low before the last low is 10. I mean, you're a bit off of that 10, but here's the 20-day simple right in here. This looks good, man. So as long as you can attempt to continue and reclaim this, I think what this is setting up for, if the stock doesn't, as long as the stock doesn't like reject, right? Like if it just rejects the 20 in strength, that's no good. But this gives you a pretty clean risk to reward because you don't want to see that so much.
And this is right in your IPO price as well, by the way.
Yeah, but if you get a little dip back into the supply and then that starts to go sideways and then come back up, this is nearly textbook reversal. Not quite. So you're here. You need to see this breach. So this is 1150. I'd like to see it breach, but even still, this may be one of those where you take like 3 shots at that 1050 and then the 4th shot, it goes. Something like that. It could be. But with this 20-day coming in and starting to balance out, flatten out rather. So this is the white line. If this flattens out and then starts to curl up based on this price action, you have 50, you have a 20 or 200. You're going to get this, what they'll going to call like a death cross. That's probably the worst. It's not a good indicator. So forget about that for a minute. This looks choppy, but it looks like you have the beginnings of a potential like bullish reversal. But that's the kind of price action you'd want to see. Just so you know, you want to see this 20-day simple kind of hold, and you want to see this 1070s area, 1050s area really hold. But it may, to M's point, so this is, if the dollar starts to come down in strength, that's going to be really good for this kind of stuff. And I think that's, with the dollar up at resistance kind of coming down, I don't hate these. I don't hate these at all. PayPal. Oh, yeah, PayPal's doing good, right? So 86. PayPal's good. You got a breach today. This is 86 here level. This is super constructive, very long term. But take this area here, pull it across $86. You bounced right up off of it. This looks healthy. Longer term chart again. You really want to get over 95s and eventually into that 112s. But yeah, this is gonna go. So February 4th. So this is perfect example. So about 4 weeks out from earnings, this could be the beginnings of that first pre-earnings kind of pop. So if you get a pullback, I think the dips get bought on this, and then you eventually have the pre-earnings kind of move over 90. Am I saying 95s, dude? Oh God! All right, it is what it is. Then Square is very similar. So Square 94 was that big kind of level here. We got close, pulled back. Actually ended up retesting this 87s, breached it just a little bit. That's probably a good dip buy, but I ended up closing on this candle. So now I will likely get back in on these next dips, because all of this, especially if crypto continues to do the thing, I'm still liking Square as like an undervalued play in terms of crypto play. But I don't know. Yeah, this looks good. This actually looks pretty good right now. Like right now. I might take this, dude. I might take this play. 92s, yeah. So see that breach? Sellers. Now buyers right over the 20. This looks pretty constructive. We'll see. A fail is going to be rough and brutal to like 87s, but that's definitely probably more of a buy area for me. I'm going to do 2 more. What are we going to do? Do you want to do NVIDIA? NVIDIA is basically...
You're 70 cents away from all-time high on NVIDIA. You've got a massive event going on that's probably going to determine what happens next, in my opinion.
All right. So I'll do Amazon.
It briefly passed Apple in largest market cap today. It was a brief stint.
NVIDIA?
It was just above earlier.
Amazon I like as well, right? So
it is back above it. It's above Apple. It's the largest market cap right now in the world.
There you go. Amazon's bullish, but it could kind of chop a little bit sideways. You're flagging out on a high. This is a very high time frame. Earnings end of the month, so definitely 3 weeks away. This is exactly that pre-earnings kind of move. So this is the consolidation here that I'm looking at for 300 plus for target. We have to get to 250, 260 first, and then decide and then see how she goes. So that would be I'd call it 255. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Amazon March 2025 call options, heavy volume on the 255 strike. And that is exactly where I have this, right into here. So to 260 as the first stop. So I think that the market knows that. I think everybody sees that. And I think they're clearly targeting that. I don't know if it's going to be like ideal to buy or sell that option. Honestly, if you're long equity and you sold that call option, that's probably fine. And honestly, if you also just bought that call option, as long as it's going higher, that's probably also fine. But that's your first stop, 255, 260, right in here to that area. So that's for March, and that's a heavy, unusual volume today. Over 10,000 volume against 9,000 open interest. It's a lot of volume for an options chain on Amazon, actually. But today's break was exactly that, kind of like reclaim of this support. So right here, so support breakdown, back up above in the pre-market today, bounced off the 20-day. So all of this, I think, is probably viable. Again, put profit is out. Right. We'll see. Yeah, RIP. I mean, if you get these dips into that 220s, I don't know, man. This is not like a short-term view that I have. Let me see if I can get some confluence here on just this consolidation. Yeah, I have this exact area just on this consolidation to have an extension right in the 250s. So I think that's not next stop. So, dude, it's bullish. So if you know what Wyckoff is, I don't know if you know what Wyckoff is or not, but I think Amp, you know what that is, but yeah, but I don't know. Other people know what that is. It's like a little dip back into here, and you get the stutter step, kaboom. That's ideal. So that's just your breakout, retest, entry. So just saying, this looks decent. Might not be today, but even, I mean, anything in this green box right here, if you see it kind of making a higher low, it could be as low as, boom, 221 here. I like it. It kind of sets up with whatever Miss Cleo said too. We don't know, right? So this is like, this is, you know, we don't know. It could be a sell the news event. I have this channel here. Ooh.
Yeah, it's a double top slash the channel.
Not great, actually.
You intending to pump it through this.
Yeah. I didn't know that this is where we were. Just gonna say it's not a place to put new money to work. I would be more of a day trader.
And it's had 2 gap up days in a row too. So like you also run into some of the stretchedness of it.
Yeah, actual all-time high. Someone had 158 or something, or this is what I have as all-time high. This is after hours 153. I think in open market trade, this is clearly, I think definitely all-time high over 150s. That's a tough one. So let's say
I don't know where 158 came from. I've got 152, like 89.
Yeah. So let's say this does consolidate, or this ends up being a breakout, which, you know, it could be. That's like 165s. First stop.
I mean, I see the pattern trader saying that it's a bull flag breaking out to the upside. I see that as well.
I mean, dude,
the pattern trader,
like a weekly.
Yeah, it's a big one. And basically back testing some of the previous
but quite frankly, if that's the case, then that's pattern full, right? Like you're there, and then you want to see, can you get through that 153? So I think like 153 is if you can hold this channel, this blue channel. The reason I'm hesitant is because like usually when you have a broken downtrend or broken uptrend like this, when you retest it, it's a short, right? Like this is a retest into short usually. And then even up here, but like sometimes if it gets sucked back into it, it might just trade into this zone. So I feel like this is more day trade setup because swings is very risky if you're swinging near dated swings on NVIDIA. Just be like tough. Target acquired. I mean, you're in here. I mean, look, I'm long NVIDIA. I'm just not taking net new longs. Yeah, so 149, 148 would be as low as you'd want to see this go in the next like 36 hours. Because if you do, then you're going to go a little bit lower and you might come back in to retest this. It's a choppy setup. It's not like a big short or anything by any means. It's a choppy setup.
We'll give a quick shout out AMD. The event is going to start at the top of the hour. There are over 16,000 people waiting in the YouTube stream right now for it.
There you go, Joe. The strat. Absolutely. All right, last one. I'll do shop. I wanted sub 100. I never got it. It's all the same, right? So all of it's choppy. You're going to get right in here. Very likely. And then wait. Or actually, we'll see, right? You got to see tomorrow. So this is, you're going to retest this area. Retesting this area. I don't know that I want to take this. These are day trading type setups. I mean, if you're going to be swinging into this, you got to be long dated, which honestly is not horrible because most of the stuff that you see is been sideways for a while. So underlying volatility on a lot of these isn't going to be through the roof, right? So here, this is like a 2-month consolidation. You're totally fine in terms of like volatility pricing. Yeah. Now I'm in Amazon.
Well, speaking of Tesla, I know you didn't go through the chart, but what we're talking about with the 20-day is what's happening literally at the high of Tesla today. It's lower high of the 20-day is a big risk across a lot of these names, and Tesla's kind of the first one to do it.
Yeah, so this is kind of that choppy type setup. I mean, it is what it is. I liked the 350 level for a better confluence. Still like it for a better confluence. It might be a little bit higher, 355s. But this is, if I get this opportunity, I still like it, right? 355s. It just, clearly you get a little bit of bounce, but it's definitely not out of the woods. Do you have this cohort of sellers? So you just ran into and you just realized that these guys are still here, alive and well, if you will. But
plus, it had a 12% pop too. Like people are going to take profit. A 12% pop, that was their target right there where you drew that box.
Yep, it's massive. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago. So lower high. Not exactly a lower low, but this is where that low would ideally line up to in the 350 type area. Maybe put profit is around for a couple tickers. Okay. We'll see. So here's where you are, right? So you have this gap before. This is 402s. Honestly, I wouldn't press this short because you want to see what happens here. So anybody here in that 400 area between 402, like right in here, these guys. So what are these guys to do right here, right now? It's very small box, but this is like exactly that, right? So what happens when these guys get their opportunity again? Do they cover shorts and it becomes like a little bounce area. So if you see shorts covering, it's honestly, it's going to look like this and sideways for a bit until eventually you get a little breach and that, or if you see them reloading, it's going to be like this, consolidate below. Does that make sense? If they're reloading. So that's that 403.35 kind of pivot right here. So this box is important, at least for right now on Tessie. If you're over this area, 408, then I think you're just going higher. So I'll give you that.
It almost is like doing one of those little correction waves or whatever people like to call it too, where it comes down, bounces, comes down again a little bit lower, bounces, and starts to base out.
Yeah, I mean, this is tough, right? Because like if you lose this, then it is 390s. And like, while I'm saying this is a better area, it's a tough short, dude. This is a tough place to short. It's a tough place to go long aside from a day trade either. Like this is I like this area if I'm going to go long net new swings, like long dated options. I like this area better. At that point, volatility is going to be a lot lower because then the chain's going to be like, oh, Tesla's been sideways for 2 months, and that's ideal versus these big old moves. So it's interesting, but it's not like, oh my God, I have to have this here. Definitely not. So we'll see. TBD on this one, for sure. No, I'm not doing this one. I'm running out of time. We will run out of time. Next time, though, what we will do next time, I think we're out of time, man. Emp, I appreciate you, dude. Hopping in on Mondays with us. The market's going crazy.
It's a pleasure.
Yep. We're going to head out, take a quick little break. Lunch is almost over. The Nobu boys are coming back. Let's see what they do when they get back to the market. Do we resume the uptrend or do they sell it all and run?
TBD. We're right back into the pre-market highs on Qs and SPY's trying to breach them. What's that opening print?
All right, guys. Well, appreciate everybody. We'll see you out there. Emp, you're the man, as always. Adios. And then keep notifications on. Free training on Friday. We will post in a little bit. Peace out.